Welcome back to Point Blank Dev. In the past video, we created this nice looking registration form using HTML and CSS. In this video, we are going to use PHP to do more to this registration form. Now, the purpose of registration forms is to keep track of users. You are creating an account with an organization because you want to be a part of that organization. And it is the organization's responsibility to keep track of whatever you are doing in their organization or on their platform in this case. Now, what we are going to do in this video is create a database where we are going to be storing our users' data. Now, we are going to simply do we are going to create a channel in which data will flow from our registration form to our database. We can do that by coming to our browser here and say localhost /php myadmin. Make sure you do not misspell it. Localhost /php myadmin. Let's wait for it. Now I'm going to drop this database. I'm going to drop it. So now we are going to create a new database. I'm going to call it registration, and I'm going to set this collation and hit create. So now in our database, we are going to have a table. The table is going to have some number of rows and number of columns. But first, we are going to start with the columns. We want a column to store the user's ID, the user's name, his email, his password, and then his status. So that is 5 columns. So we are going to increment this to 5, and then let's call the name of this table users, and then we'll hit go. Now this is for ID. The data type for ID is going to be integer, and the maximum length is going to be 50. Username is going to be voucher. I want to set this to 200. Just follow along. Email is going to be voucher, going to be 200. Password is also going to be voucher because the user can combine characters, numbers, and any special characters. So I'm going to set this also 200. Status, I'm going to leave it to be int. And then I'll set it to maximum 50. Now this ID, I want each user to have a unique ID. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it auto increment here. So auto increment will automatically assign a primary key to it to make it unique. So I'm going to save. So now you have a database with a table inside it. The name of our table is users, and then you can see the columns. You can see. So now let's get back to our text editor and see how we can create a channel in which information or data will flow from this registration form to our database here. So let's go back. There is a file we created called server.php, and in this server.php we are going to initialize our localhost connection or our database connection. So this is PHP, so we are going to do that in a PHP tag. This is the PHP tag. This is the syntax for writing PHP scripts. So just follow along. So I'm going to create a variable called db that will handle the database connection. And I'll use a function called mysqli connect. And mysqli connect usually take some parameters. The first is I'm going to say localhost. And then the user is going to be root. The user is going to be root, and then our password, we don't have any password for that database, we are leaving it empty. And then the name of our database is registration. Make sure you do not misspell anything. Registration here must correspond to the one we have here. The name is registration. Make sure you do not misspell it. Now let's check to see if connection was successful or not successful. Now we want to check if this connection exists. The name of the connection is db. If the connection exists, we simply want to echo or say that what am I saying? Connection success. But if the connection failed, then we want to simply say failed. Now, for this code to work, we need to import these files into our register page. We'll go back to the top here and import it. We'll do that in the PHP tag. Now we are going to require that file. We're going to require it once, and then the name of the file you are requiring is server.php. This is the file here, server.php, and this is the file we are requiring, server.php. So all the configurations and methods and everything in server.php will get included in this whole file here. So when we come back to our page here, if I refresh, you see connection success. Connection success. Wow, our connection to the database was successful. But if I misspelled anything here, I omitted the T here, and then I refresh, you are going to see a warning, an error. You see failed. This is because the connection was unsuccessful. We misspelled the name. So guys, this is how to simply create a channel for your data to be transmitted from your registration form here to your database. So guys, basically this is what this video is just meant to teach us, how to simply create a channel or a database connection. The channel is going to grab our details whenever we fill our form. Whenever we fill our form, our details will be grabbed here and then sent to our database. That is what that connection is doing. It's a kind of linking this page to the database. So guys, if this is the kind of stuff you like, do not forget to subscribe and then share to a friend. Tell a friend about what you are learning, and then share the video. It helps more than you can possibly imagine. Just share the video, and then I hope to see you in the next class.